Welcome to One Quick Question with Info Media, your source for answers to your questions about websites, digital marketing, and more. I'm your host, Carrie Rollwagon. So today we're here with Elena Harmons. Welcome, Elena.
Thanks for having me.
So you are our marketing manager, correct?
Yes.
And that means you do a lot of things, but social media is one of them.
Yes.
So today I thought you would be perfect for our question. What is the best way to plan a photo shoot for social media? So I know a lot of people, we can kind of like shoot our own things, but sometimes we bring in professionals, right? Our team?
We do.
Yeah. And so for that, they need a little more planning. And maybe it would actually be helpful to plan like that, even if you're shooting it yourself, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's always helpful to plan first. And
Yeah.
It just helps you be more prepared. And I feel like everything goes over more smoothly and more effectively when you go into it with a plan.
So what is the plan for this? How do you,
So
how do we start?
First, you choose a date.
Yeah.
Figure out when you're going to have a few hours to set aside and figure out where you're taking photos, whether it be at your office or, sometimes like we'll go to Pepper Place or whatever because we work near there. And so we like to have content that reflects our culture and that all that good stuff. So yes, figure out when you have a few hours, figure out your location, and figure out who's going to be in the shots. That can be a little bit challenging to get people to participate.
Yeah.
But just make sure to ask like your coworkers in advance. It's always helpful to know who's going to be there. And that way you can kind of plan the shots around how many people you have and who it is and that kind of thing.
Okay. So do we plan the location, we plan the day. And for location too, I think it's hard because like our office has some places that are really like, I don't think photogenic is what you call an office, but like looks nice. But we've had offices in the past that haven't. So like you said, I think that's a good idea to say like, okay, well, across the street, there are some shops and that's nice. And I think natural light is usually helpful, especially if you don't have a professional team. So location, date, and then like the kind of cast, I guess. I think I'm using all the wrong words, but that's okay.
The subject matter.
Yes, yeah. Your models.
Or even, if you're using props or anything like that, if you're shooting for some kind of specific thing, just make sure you have everything you need ahead of time. And yeah.
Yeah. So I think like I know what we'd shoot if it's like doing a Christmas shoot or, whatever, Thanksgiving or something like that. But if you don't know, if you're not planning around like a holiday or a day, how do you know what to shoot? Like if you don't have props that are kind of like targeted toward this, is there a strategy toward those shoots or how does that work?
I think so. It's really just like if you're planning your social media strategy in advance, you'll know what you need. And it is also kind of trial and error. Like the longer you execute your social and photo strategy, you'll kind of learn what you need and learn what works for you. And I think the more you post, the more you produce content, that's what happens. Like you figure out what's easy to get, what's more challenging. And it's always helpful to just have shots of your culture, people doing whatever you do every day. So depending on the nature of your business, you may be sitting in an office working, but you also might be outside, doing your services, whatever it is. Those action shots of like your people are awesome to have because people love to see content that includes other people on social, especially.
I think that's true. What are some things that you do? Like you said, as you shoot, you kind of learn different things. Can you think of anything that you do differently or that you tell people to do differently when they show up for shoots, like now versus when you first started managing?
Yes, I'll let you in on some trade secrets.
Yeah.
I think one of the big things is knowing what to tell people because a lot of times people, if they're going to be in a photo shoot, people are like weird about taking pictures or awkward in photos or whatever it is. And having the ability to, make your photo shoot work for a long time, I guess, like stretch the content, it's one of the things that we tell people is like bring a different shirt.
Yeah.
Something like that. Bring something that makes it look like all these photos weren't taken on the exact same day.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's helpful. It's definitely not like a requirement or a necessity. Like not everyone that's in our photo shoots always brings, a change of clothes, but it is helpful. And then, you also just learn what your content is going to be, like what it should be and what performs the best for you. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so I remember we had to pull some people in for a shoot, and one person had like I think Janet had like a pink sweater on with like big flowers on it.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't her fault. She was unexpectedly pulled into the shoot. But there were a few shots that I was like, no, let's sub Jana for somebody else because like that guy's wearing a blue shirt.
Yeah.
And even if we show 2 pictures of a guy in a blue shirt, nobody's going to be like, that's the same picture. But if we're showing 2 pictures of somebody in a pink sweater with white flowers on it, it's like, okay, why do you keep using the same picture?
Yeah, it's more memorable.
Yeah.
And another thing to keep in mind too is that like you're definitely thinking about your content harder than everyone else is.
Yeah.
So it's not that deep of a thing.
Except your boss. That's yeah.
That's true. But no, I mean.
That's why we usually, like, our boss will call and say, like, why do we keep using the pink sweater? Like,
yes, exactly. But I mean, no, you do have to kind of keep that in mind that your audience isn't like stalking your company's social media every day and being like, oh my gosh, that person's wearing that outfit again. You know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah.
So, but it is helpful for sure to kind of be able to, like I said, stretch the content, make it last longer and repurpose it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, do we need, so we use professional photographers mostly, right? Or do we always do that or no?
Not always. There are definitely some times where I need something that either, I don't want to pull in a whole team of people just to get me this one specific photo that I need. Mm-hmm. Or, those one-off things, like iPhone photos are okay for that. But, I mean, you don't have to use a professional, but if you're not, then just make sure that you're, try to give yourself a little bit of a crash course on like iPhone photography and what works, and make sure, you have good lighting and that you're editing consistently and things like that. Those are all things that come with having a professional team that are awesome benefits, but not everyone has the ability to do that. So
I think that makes sense. And we've worked before. Years ago, we didn't have a professional team like that worked with us. So what I would do is kind of cheat it. Like now we can shoot inside because we have professionals who know how to light it. I didn't know how to light, so all of our shoots used to be outside.
Yeah.
So there are some kind of cheats you can use there. Well, when you're working with photographers, do you need any, what do you provide to them besides, I guess, time, location? Do you have to make, a shot list?
Yes. A shot list is very helpful, even if you're not working with a professional team. It's just helpful to go into the shoot knowing exactly what you need to capture. It's kind of like checking things off a list. And that just ensures that you get everything you need and within that specific time, and that you're not having to go back later and be like, oh no, I forgot to get this one thing. So I'll think about that ahead of time. And sometimes a shot list is pretty basic. If we're doing a shoot around the office, sometimes it's just like, shoot these different people at their desk. Saying shoot these people sounds bad, but take photos of these people at their desk. Take photos of them talking in the break room or whatever it may be. But having a plan just helps to keep everything on track, because you do have to keep in mind that everyone that's participating in the shoot is also trying to work still.
Yeah.
So it's really helpful to know who's going to be where and what shot and things like that.
So that's all a shot list is, just a list of the shots that you're getting. Mm-hmm. And I think we figured that out too, because we would first just say we'll just shoot people around. You're right, that does sound weird. Around the office, but now it's more helpful to be 2 or 3 people talking at the bar in the hallway, 2 or 3 people talking in the kitchen. And there's just more we make sure we get all the coverage.
Yeah. And a lot of things come naturally too. When we have, events or our Halloween party or whatever, there's not always a shot list for that. That
Mhm.
kind of stuff comes more naturally. But if you are just trying to get like curated photos for social media, then a shot list is definitely helpful.
Awesome. Well, is it easy to get people in the shots all the time? Like to
No.
actually be your models?
No.
Yeah.
No.
What are your tricks for that? Do you have any bribery?
Bribery. Company will buy you lunch today.
Yeah.
And that's not always possible, but, you know, jokingly be like, I'm begging you, but you really are
Yeah.
begging. No, I mean, there are like a select few people that are always pretty willing to do it. But, you know, some people don't like to be in photos. Some people feel like they're not photogenic. So, yeah, it's challenging, especially to get the variety
Mhm.
and not having the same people in every single shoot. But, yeah.
Yeah, like you said, we have a few people who will never be in photos.
Mhm.
We have a few people who will always be in photos. Like if we don't use Russell, he says, "Why did you not choose the most attractive person in the office?" He's joking, but then you have, you have that middle where you're just like, okay, we can't use the always people
Mhm.
again. So yeah, bribery, like we did that last time. You're gonna get lunch or you'll get a
Yeah.
croissant. And sometimes we go to the managers too, and they're like, "Hey, we need a couple people from your department."
Yeah. It ends up always working out, but, you know,
It's always stressful.
yeah, it is stressful. Also, making sure people know ahead of time is helpful too,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, if people want to see the results of your labors, where where do they go?
You can check us out on Instagram at infomedia.com, spelled out DOTCOM.
Yeah.
And
Which is hard to do. Like your
Yeah.
fingers automatically do the actual dot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're on LinkedIn as well. We're just Infomedia. We're also on Facebook and Twitter. Our Twitter is also infomedia.com, spelled out.
and TikTok.
And TikTok. That's true.
Yeah.
It's also infomedia.com.
Yeah. Well, guess what? If people want to see more of Infomedia or show notes, they can go to
Infomedia.com/quick
Oh
question.
yeah. Okay, there's more of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Infomedia is who brings you one quick question. I guess I should have said. Elena is the producer.
Carrie is the host and creator.
Yeah. And Brad Davis did our theme music. He created it. He's a developer for us too. So we will leave you with this thought. A real expert helps to clarify, not confuse. So don't take website advice from someone who can't give you a straight answer.
Remember that.
Yeah.